Hello, 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 everyone. It's Dr. Tamar Beckford, and welcome to the Dr. Tamar Beckford Show. I am ecstatic, like super ecstatic about today's guest. Alrighty, it is all about faith and health. And a lot of times people don't pair that together, spirituality and faith and their health, but it's really important because we've had guests on this show who have Dr. Isabel Amig. If you haven't seen her episode, Dr. Isabel Amig had stage 4 cancer, and she used not just holistic, and she is a researcher. She's a Dr. Amig is an rheumatologist, and she studied in Paris and here, and she used some of faith and driven and just spirituality to help to heal in addition. So we're talking about the power that really comes with our faith and spirituality today. Alrighty, I have like a super powerhouse doc that I met at a health fair, and I just ran up to her. Poor doctor. She just had to deal with all that is Dr. Beckford that you guys see on a weekly basis in like a 5-minute span. So this doctor of ours today, who's a guest, she graduated from Duke University. And for her medical school, she did her residency here in Texas at Texas Children's Hospital. So she's a pediatrician. But not only that, she did a fellowship at Baylor College of Medicine in allergy-immunology. She has been there for over 20 years as not only working as a professor there, but she's also been a director of division in immunology and allergy and retrovirology there at Baylor College of Medicine. She holds the Janie and Sandra Queen Endowed Chaired Award in Immunology, HIV, and AIDS. She has been a recipient of the Norton Rose Fulbright LLP Faculty Excellence Award, the Texas Medical Association Academic Excellence Award, Gold Award at that. She has also been the recipient of a Top Doc by Texas Monthly. She has been nominated as like Top American Physician Doc, like Super Doc of the Year by the National Consumer Advisory Board. Now, with all of these big accolades, you think that she'll just be like, okay, great, I've done it all. But no, she's faith driven, and she has opened up, like, this is one of her greatest honors to be able to talk about today, being one of the founders of the Family Faith Health Center that provides holistic health care coupled with spiritual care to uninsured communities in the inner city of Houston. She has collaborated with interventional cardiologists, internal medicine doctors, and gynecologists for this faith-centered care. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the one and only Dr. Carla Davis. Hey, Dr. Carla. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, Dr. Beckford. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I am excited. I told you it was big. I know. I have a big personality and a small body. I am super excited. And there's so many accolades, so many awards. But, before we got to this point, we had like little Carla. And when did Carla decide that she wanted to be Dr. Carla? When did she decide that she's going to just go to med school and do all of these things? Tell us that story.
Well, I always, as a little Carla,
Mhm.
wanted to be a scientist.
Nice.
And my mother was a chemist, my father was a physicist, and I wanted to do science. At first, I wanted to apply science to life. So I said,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to be an engineer.
There we
And so
go.
it wasn't until my sophomore year in college
Mhm.
when I found out that when I went to church my whole life, I really didn't understand who Jesus Christ was and what following him meant.
Mhm.
When I decided that I was going to follow Jesus Christ, then he said, okay, what are you going to do with that science for me
Mhm.
and for, my kingdom? And I
Mhm.
said, what am I supposed to do with this science? And so I said, you know what? I see all throughout scripture that Jesus is healing and sharing the gospel. And I think if I apply science to people,
Mm-hmm.
that will usher in an opportunity to do something for the kingdom. So it was my sophomore year towards the
Mm-hmm.
end in college that I decided to go to medical school.
I love it. I love it. So really getting a grasp of what it is that's important to me and my faith, and then how can I pair my faith with what I want, and looking for examples. Of course, I'm pretty sure you look at examples around. You know, a lot of us, we're all around and the Bible is right there. We're like, where can I find an example? Where can I find an example? It's right in front of you. So you looked, and then you said, okay, well, Jesus is using healing to heal his people, and I love science, and I want to be able to use science to do something for the people in that respect. And you pair that together and said, okay, well, healing, so doctors heal. Okay, I see where I'm going with this. I see where I'm going to use my gift, this gift that I have for
Yeah.
science. Alrighty, so now you're there in med school, gone to Duke University. But there's so many specialties out there, but you chose pediatrics. So tell me, what made you choose peds?
That was a process. Yeah. I knew I wanted to in some way serve a lot of people. But I was
Mhm,
also paying attention to what I really enjoyed in terms of interacting with patients.
mhm,
And so at first I thought, well, I could do med peds, um,
mhm,
you know, total or family medicine. I didn't want to. Honestly, my example of OB, and so I didn't pick family medicine because I didn't want to be delivering babies all times, all hours. and and then I thought, well, maybe adults and children. But I just loved when I got on the pediatric wards. I just loved the interaction, talking with the
Mhm,
parents and dealing with the children. And then I remember someone said, those who take care of children are
mhm.
really taking care of the future. And
Yes.
children, there's so much that you're really doing to for a whole entire lifetime. And
Mhm.
I embraced that. And I said, you know what, I really want to do that. So that's why
That
I chose pediatrics.
and I love the fact that that person stated that. Like you're right, and that's one of the things I always think is so like I admire for all the pediatricians that are out there, or the pediatrician or the pediatric specialists. Like what you do, you're not just doing it, and the lifetime of impact. Even with that short interaction, it's a lifetime of impact. I mean,
Mm.
you are able to help, like my brother was a preemie, like he was, and people see videos I make with him all the time, and but the impact that the neonatologist had on our life, our family, it's now expanded, and he himself will now be able to have impact because now he's in med school. Can you imagine a
Oh, wow.
28 week, I know, like 28-week preemie, and now he's in med school ready to now have impact. But you see that small time frame, those couple months in the NICU that was poured into by the pediatrician, the neonatologist, you just see the impact of a lifetime. So you're right. And I always give a lot of respect because for those who are on the other side of medicine, and you probably have not realized, for a pediatric residency 3 years, but for every specialty that you have that you're interacting with a pediatric specialist, they've done an additional 3 years to be
Yeah.
able to take care of your loved one. So
Yeah.
you're not just stepping into somebody that did a year and a half. No, at least 6 years of training to be able to really have that love and that care for your loved one. And that's why they're always so dear to my heart, because 6 years of training is a lot of training. You
It
know,
is. It is. I thought about one other thing that maybe
mhm,
pushed me towards pediatric, and that is I used to give some recommendations to my adult patients, and
mhm,
sometimes we would give recommendations to parents for children. And if
mhm.
it was life saving, if the parents didn't do it, I love the fact that we could go to the courts and make those children, you know, care that they needed.
Yes,
I kind of like that, that we have this extra protection level for
right.
kids because we recognize just the value of them. And so
Yes.
I love the fact that your brother is going to be a doctor after being a premature infant. That's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Alrighty, so now you did peds, but then you went further. Like I was saying, like that extra 3 years or so. What pushed you to want to do fellowship? Because at some people are just like, alrighty, I'm done. But you're like, no, I want more. So tell us.
Yes, it was because of my best friend in college. She
Hmm.
called me up one day and she told me that her niece had been born, but
Hmm.
she was about to die.
Oh
And
no.
I thought, wow, my gosh, what's happening? And she said, oh, Carla, she's been diagnosed with severe combined immunodeficiency. I said, what is that? And she
Hmm.
said, the baby does not have an immune system. I said, what? And
Hmm.
so at that time, before I even thought about medicine, I was looking at treatments for this little girl, and I was
Hmm.
fascinated that this could be treated with bone marrow transplant. So I started thinking about the immune system. I thought it was
Hmm.
fascinating because it's like this invisible shield that
Right.
we don't even think about. But God, and it's incredibly complex. I couldn't believe it. And so when I got to my pediatric residency and I saw these patients
Hmm.
with immunology, I just thought they were fascinating.
Hmm.
And I wanted to see patients that were a little bit more complex. And I
Hmm.
regular pediatrics is really about shepherding the development of a child. And
Right.
I thought, you know what, I want to have the option to treat children like my
Hmm.
best friend's niece, and
Hmm.
and I realized I really wanted some of that variety. So
Oh,
that's why I just kept coming back to allergy and immunology.
wow. And I love who those who can and have the drive to be able to do more to dive deeper into the complex areas, because that's what's helping our society. That's what helping our healthcare. Because if we look at what happened then, this was many years ago, and then there's so many different like diseases, and then we have 2020. Boom! Who did we need? All the allergists and immunologists
And
and all the microbiologists. Like, please stand up and help us out. We have no idea what's going on. But look at how life comes full circle, that all the work and the passion and the drive and understanding all this, and then years later, in addition to what you're doing, it's now so impactful and it's needed to save the world.
it was a very challenging time, but I really enjoyed the fact that we could start helping people understand vaccines and
Yes.
the impact of vaccines, the role of the immune system. All of a sudden, with the pandemic, the immune system was on center stage.
Yes, yes. Understand it, like this thing that has been invisible, that has been doing its job, a kind of unsung hero, was now getting that center stage and realizing, like, wow, protecting ourselves is so important. And what I also love is that although now we're, where the pandemic is at its is phasing out, but there are people who are taking heed
Mhm.
to understanding the role that their immune system, and using healthy habits in order to keep themselves healthy, to free or reduce the exposure to germs and things that would have been laughed upon when you're like, no, these are just simple things that you can do.
Yes.
Nobody cared. But now we've taken heed to it.
Yeah, yeah, the things like stress, lack of
Hmm.
sleep,
Hmm.
lack of fruits and vegetables, all of these things can contribute to the immune system being weak. And
Absolutely.
so we know this now very clearly. There's a mind
Hmm.
body connection, and so doing the things that make us feel healthy also help our immune system.
Absolutely. All righty. So, we stood up and we have all of that. But with all that you're doing, your faith and being an academic clinician, researcher, that was great, but you needed more. And you've done so through the family faith health clinic. Tell us, when did the inception of this idea? Like, I want to do this, because not a lot of people are like thinking, especially faith and health, they think it's mutually exclusive. While it's either you have faith or you are going to listen to science, but you are pairing both. So when did the inception come for this clinic, and when did you just start like, all right, I'm going full force at this?
Yeah, well, as I shared, that was always my mission in college
Mhm.
when I decided to go to medical school. And so I was always looking for how, I could merge these two things. I
Mhm.
had the honor of being able to go on mission trips um,
Mhm.
to Africa. While in Kenya, we partnered to give medical kind of screening and some healthcare to very rural populations,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed that. I really felt like that was where I needed to be. I needed to be doing something in that area.
Mhm.
But I didn't do anything. Didn't really find a way to do it until the pandemic hit. And
Mhm.
as an immunologist, the disparities were just so front and center. Black
Mm.
and Hispanic patients were dying at 3 times the rate of whites. We were hospitalized at 4 times the rate of whites, and the vaccine rate in our community was really low. And so
Mhm.
I saw this connection. I was very saddened by it all, and then I thought to myself, why don't I really see this? Why did the pandemic have to bring it up?
Mhm.
That time I was sitting in my office, and I just heard the Lord. I was saying, "Why, Lord, why?" And
Mhm.
and I just felt in my spirit saying, "You need to do something."
Yes.
I put you in this place. I'm a division director, so I have all these operational. I learned a lot about business and healthcare, and I said, you need to do something. You have the skills now to
Mhm.
be able to, put something in place to help your people and improve the health of people. Um,
Mhm.
and for me, because God was telling me to do this, I started thinking, maybe this would be a way to incorporate my Christianity, my faith, in
Mhm.
what I'm doing. So I started polling my friends, my first Christian friends, but
Mhm.
also physician friends. So
Right.
I would ask, Christian, would you, think that a clinic that had, Christian healthcare providers is something you would like? And everybody lit up. And I asked my physician friends who I
Mhm.
knew were Christian, or I didn't maybe even know, and just would ask
Mhm. Right.
think, and every Christian physician that I shared about this just lit up and said, that would be amazing. I said, I don't know of anything that any other entity that's doing this. Do you? And they would all say no. And
Mm.
and at the same time, I was online and I said, I wonder if anybody's doing this.
Mhm.
And then I found in Memphis, Tennessee, Empowering Church Health Outreach had a training program coming up. And normally it happens in Tennessee. At that time, I said, oh, it's going virtual. I said, look at this.
Yes, timing.
Timing was perfect, and they gave us. They told us exactly how to set up a clinic, a charitable faith-based clinic, and gave us a consultant for an entire year. It was incredible, and so really modeling a holistic approach to health,
Mhm.
and really understanding that our overall health is not determined just by healthcare. Uh,
Right.
this is a common concept now, these social determinants of health.
Mhm.
And in a study, in the New England Journal of Medicine, over 15 years ago, did a study to figure out what is the determinants, and really social circumstances, behavioral patterns, environmental
Mhm.
exposures are all very heavily influencers of overall health. And the social determinants of health includes healthcare, but it also
Absolutely.
includes economic, well-being, right? It
Yeah.
also, yeah, includes literacy education. It
Mhm.
includes social, where you are socially, right? And really, it's more than just the physical. It is
Mhm.
the spiritual. And so that's when Family Faith Health Clinic was birthed, and I found some like-minded uh, physicians, Christian physicians, and they said yes. And business people, they said yes, we need this, and everybody knew we needed it because of the pandemic and the impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So during a time when the world is at its worst, you know, it became blatantly clear the difference and the impact that this, not only this virus is having, but I think the virus just really unveiled a lot of what people kind of sort of figured out. We kind of had an idea that there was a disparity, but when the virus came, it was glaringly obvious. It's like boom. But now we have the realization that that's going on. There are two things that can happen. We can realize it and say, oh man, it's so sad. Or you can realize it and try to do something about it, right? And take action.
Yes. Yes.
And, the action step that you took when you realize that so many people thought the same way, but just didn't know how to do it. Like, how did that make you feel?
Uh, Yeah, very validated, very validated. A part of the process of putting the clinic together was getting a needs assessment, right? Does the
Mhm,
community want this? You don't want to do something the community doesn't want.
mhm,
And I went to talk with community, activists, people in churches, pastors, faith-based people, the community organizations, and it was unanimous. Everyone said, "Oh, we definitely need this," right? Like, "Oh, that would be amazing." And I really got no one who said they wouldn't do it. I even went to government officials,
mhm.
public health department, and I said, is this something that that could be a partner, and with the Christian part of it or the faith part of it, clash with the government? And they said, "No, that's not a problem. We're good." They were like, "No, no, we're good." So really, I just got only positive feedback about the
Mhm.
idea, and I got willing partners. So it was very affirming and reassuring.
So, how is the community since the clinic has opened? I know.
Yeah.
Yep, the automatic lights. I understand. It's wave and let them know I'm still here. So, since the clinic has opened, what has how have those in the community, um, how have they reacted to it? Are they coming in? Like, tell us, like, what are some of the feedback that you're getting from those who are using the resources?
Mhm, yeah. So we started, our idea when we started was that we would be in one place, a brick and mortar building. Um,
Mhm.
People would come to us. But what we've learned as we started without the brick and mortar is that healthcare needs to be accessible, and it's most accessible when you actually go to the people and
Yeah.
bring it to the people. And
Mhm.
we've had I, I will tell you one of the most powerful um, experiences
Mhm.
was where we were, having one of our fairs, and a gentleman came. I encouraged him to come inside, and he was clearly, very impoverished. Didn't know if
Mhm.
he had a home or not. And as soon as he walked in, he just started crying and
Mm.
sobbing uncontrollably, and we didn't know what was going on
Man, yes.
with him. And then when he came, to himself after just being so emotional, he said, "No one's ever cared about me or cared for me like this."
Wow.
And it was really a powerful moment
Mhm.
for us. And I think that is really the sentiment that we get, just excitement, just elation that there are people who care about those who are, and I didn't mention this, we focus on those who are uninsured,
Mhm.
who are impoverished, those who really can't easily see a healthcare provider. One of the men who came into our clinic, he said, "I just can't believe this. My mom is always asking me if I have gotten checked out." And he said, "I am going to tell her, Mama, I got checked out."
Oh.
So it just is wonderful. And one of the things also that we really try to do at Family Faith Healthcare, we are open to all patients. We are open to all volunteers. I know that patients patient provider concordance. So when the patient and the provider have similar cultural background, um,
Mhm.
the health outcomes are better. And so
Absolutely.
we truly try and ensure that there are good proportion
Mhm.
of providers from minoritized backgrounds, so that we will make sure that the culture of Family Faith Health Clinic is
Mhm.
one that is welcoming to people of all cultures, and especially African American,
Mhm.
Black, Hispanic patients.
Oh, wonderful. Can you imagine being able to find that service that's there? Now, as I'm listening to this from an air of a physician air, and also the air of a physician who works in the emergency department, because I'm an ER doc. And we know that the emergency room can sometimes be a catch-all for patients who want care and they don't know of some of the care and the resources that are out there, especially if they're uninsured. And so as I'm listening to this, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Now I met Dr. Davis like how long ago, and how was I not sent anybody to her? But I also need to know, are there any restrictions? Is it like, okay, you have to live in this particular part of the city in order to be able to receive care? Or are there any restrictions, or it's just like, no, literally, hey, if you fit this criteria, you're uninsured or, impoverished, then we are able to take care of you.
Yeah, there are no restrictions on that. If you
I still
need.
have your card. Let's just put it like that.
Yes, they should. Now, the challenge, we are always looking for partners, and this
Mhm,
coming year we'll have we're on Saturday morning, and we partner with community centers and churches in the greater Houston area. Um,
mhm,
I'm excited to say that I am going to be taking on a large role in Washington D.C. too. So we
mhm,
are, as the chief, I should say not chief, the chair
mhm,
of the Department of Pediatrics at Howard University College of Medicine, and it's pediatrics and child health. So
mhm.
I'm going to be taking that role in Washington D.C. So I am praying and looking forward to having Family Faith Health Clinic in Washington D.C. and in Houston. And
Mhm,
we are providing care for the uninsured and those who are no more than 300% above the federal poverty line. Now,
mhm.
at this time, we don't check, right now, insurance. So but we are putting in a process for.
Mhm,
So in the future, we will have those restrictions. But right now, we're doing screenings, and we take all comers. So
mhm,
if you don't have insurance, do we want you to come. The other thing that we do, because in Harris County, which is the county of Houston, they
mhm,
have Harris Health, and at Harris Health, there's the opportunity to actually get health care through their system. So we have applications at Family Faith
mhm,
Health Clinic to connect people to a regular pharmacy and providers that
mhm.
can help. So we connect. The other thing I didn't mention is that it is health and faith. So at
Yes.
every one of our events and clinics, we not only have the physicians and the providers to do screenings, weight, height, vitamin index, blood pressure, glucose and cholesterol, lipids, and you can get a physical exam. We also have people who can share, with you and pray for you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we always have that spiritual component where you can talk about the things that are stressors and things that are probably impacting your health. And then we
Absolutely.
pray about that because I truly believe that the power of the Lord is enough to overcome many of the things that actually adversely impact our healthcare.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, being able to have both in one setting, it's a powerful combination. So it's like not just mind and body, but it's mind, body, and also spirit, right? So we're getting like that trifecta of health in one place. Love it, love it. And like I said, I need to figure out so we can know where we can find. And then I need to also after this, I've to see who I know in DC so we can start getting some partnership because there's so many the need is there and the need within places where we have a portion of the population who are uninsured or even like we say underinsured, or dealing with the stressors in life where it's not just food, the food desert type thing. Because I know when I met you, you also had someone who was teaching about health and diet, and they're like, hey, you can make this meal in 20 minutes. I'm like, really?
Yeah, we try to bring in people for exercise, counseling, nutrition, really dental, we
Yes.
and then job care. So we try to have as much resources as possible in our clinic.
Right. And
Yes.
I think that's important for people to know because at times they're thinking, well, I'm just going to come in for this. But no, it's an encompassing care because it's realizing that it's multifactorial, the issues that goes on in our life that cause us to have some of these health challenges. It's multifactorial. It's not just, oh, your pressure's high. Okay. There's when you start tracking back, you can start to find the root causes. And then if you're able to help to eliminate or reduce some of those root causes, then we can now have a greater impact on not just your life, but your family's life, right? Which is
Yeah.
how the family clinic, when you
Yes.
think about it.
We actually have found that of all the patients who we have seen and really screened for a disease, a third of those folks have high blood pressure.
Mhm.
40%, have either are obese or overweight, and then 10% are walking around with elevated glucose levels, uncontrolled diabetes. So we really know that this is a need, and we really want to meet the need and expand
Mhm.
with time.
Love it. Love
Fun.
it. Well, there's so many things that goes into this. And, when we think about all that you're doing and all that you've done, let's find out. Have you ever experienced burnout throughout this process? And if you have, what did it look like for you?
Mhm. Yeah, burnout for me, I will say yes.
Mhm.
I think it probably came. Burnout for me happens when there are barriers to what I want to move forward with. So I wrote a couple of grants, tried to get and it wasn't successful, and that so I felt like that barrier of not getting the funding that I felt we
Mhm.
needed contributed to
Mhm.
a feeling of burnout. And so that's what it looks like, kind of discouragement. And
Mhm.
in those times, I have to just go back
Yes.
to the Word of God. I have to go back to, why
Mhm.
am I doing this, and kind of remind myself
Mhm.
through what the Bible says, that. this is, I can be victorious more than a conqueror. And then also
Yes.
that trials or things that are difficult can be just, refining me, right? And making me have more
Mm-hmm.
endurance and more persistence. And then also that sometimes it makes me see that it's not all about me and what I need to do, but sometimes God has a way of doing it for me that I couldn't
Yes.
see if I wasn't burnt out and, and tired. And
Yes.
so, yes, and the other thing that I do, two other things, is get with family that can be, my biological family and my church family. So I begin to
Mm-hmm.
spend more time with them. And then I know lack of sleep is a
Mm-hmm.
huge trigger. So I try to get good sleep and then exercise more. And when those things, when I really connect back to who I am, this is
Mm-hmm.
what I do, then
Right.
then that is what tends to move me out of the burnout stage. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right. Like sometimes we get into working and doing and everything works out for us and we forget how and why it worked out. Sometimes you need a little reminder.
right,
It's
okay,
so
I tried everything I could try and it's not working out, and so
yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
it's
Love it. Love it. Alrighty. So now here's my fun question of the day.
mhm.
And I had to think back because I told you about it. All right. So if you weren't a doctor, an immunologist, you weren't doing the faith-based clinic and spirituality, and or weren't a leader, a religious leader, what would you be? I
Okay.
know. I told you. I mean.
I was gonna say my normal thing, which is mission. But yeah, if I didn't do all of those things,
Hmm.
then I'm gonna say I would be um, an artist, like
Yes.
I would be maybe like a like a drawing, like
Hmm.
drawing pictures and playing music. I play the flute, so I would
Nice. So we
probably
have so just art and music.
yes, yes. I would do that. Now that's not gonna make me any money, is it? I can't live off
Because see, but the thing is, in my utopia, you don't have to worry about money. So
yeah.
that's just, yeah, that part gets handled
Mhm,
somehow.
mhm.
And so you get to do this other thing that you love to do.
Yes, yes. That's
So
that's what I would do because I would go back to drawing. I really enjoyed that and playing my flute and I play piano too. So I do all of that.
love it, love it, love it, love it. Now, as I think back, I told you about my utopia. Now, I have someone who, she has a nice little tea room and someone that's baking. She likes to bake little pastries, and we also have a someone who likes to do floral arrangements. So you can see how your artwork, and I have some interior designers. So your artwork will go in that space, and if you wanted to play the flutes in that space too, so I could see where all of that's going. It's a nice, relaxing area. Yeah, I'm telling you, my utopia with all my doctor friends, we're gonna have a blast. Okay, so with that, we're gonna tell everyone where can they find you, Dr. Davis, and then there are people out there that are now going to be inspired by what you have done. Some are going to want to join in and see if they can volunteer. So let's tell them the type of volunteer opportunities that are available, because some might say, well, she only want doctors, but no.
No,
Let them know the type of opportunities that are available there in Houston here, and also forward thinking for all our DC people.
Yes, yes. So, so you can imagine we have several things that one could do for
Mhm,
the health clinic. Of course, we do want you, if you're a doctor or a PA or a nurse practitioner or a nurse or an MA. We also
mhm.
want you if you're a student, if you're a resident, if you're a fellow. We want
Yes.
you. That's all kind of the healthcare piece. But we also need people who can share about the faith, I would say, through Jesus Christ. We're a Christian organization, so the gospel as well as prayer for people, for the
Mhm,
listeners. We also need administrators. We need people who are good at even potentially human resources, people who
mhm.
want to be an executive director, or people who are grant writers, people who are good media, social media gurus. We need you. Uh, we
Yes.
we definitely need even people who are in law,
Mhm.
accountants. I mean, we can really use you no matter what your skills are like.
Absolutely.
So,
We're
so yeah, if you want to contribute to the Family Faith Health Clinic mission, um,
mhm.
being spiritual care, compassionate quality medical care, yeah, definitely contact me. I'm at contact at familyfaithhc.org, and you can go to our website at
Mhm.
www.familyfaithhc.org, and there
Mhm.
is a volunteer button. You just click the volunteer button
There
and
it
fill out the form, and it will come to that contact at familyfaithhc.org.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, and which is why I phrased it that way, because I know some people, when they're listening, they're like, well, that's great, but it takes all different types of specialty and skill set to run a clinic, to run especially one that is like faith based, one that is really pouring into the community. So, if you are there and you're passionate and this is driving you and you have skill sets within all of those areas, so MA, if you have skill set in social
Social work.
media,
Yes,
social work, yes,
social work.
social
Yes,
work,
community
yes,
worker. Absolutely. We need you.
absolutely, yes, and law, accounting, all of these skill set. And what about those of you who you have recently retired, but you're like, I want to do something. Like, I don't want to just sit around. I want to have an impact. Because the thing about this is that part of your life is the legacy building portion, right? Where you're giving and you're able to really see some of the fruits of your labor, and some of it you might not see, but your life and your work will live on way beyond you.
Yeah.
So think about all of this out there, and then get in contact. Where let's say the name again, because I don't want to say it. I might get it wrong. I don't want them to get to the wrong address, but let them know how they can contact you and they can volunteer again. Go ahead,
Okay.
Dr.
Yes.
Davis.
The easy thing is just www.familyfaithhc.org.
That's right.
Then the email address is contact@familyfaithhc.org, and you can get that on our website. So, and then you can donate, you can volunteer, all
Mhm.
on our website. So
Love it.
we're excited to share today, and I want to thank Dr. Beckford for
Thank you.
me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation, accepting all of this energy that just browsed upon you randomly at the health fair.
It's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Now, for those of you who said, oh my gosh, Dr. Beckford, I didn't catch all of it, I have no fear. This wonderful conversation is available on our website, yourcaringdocs.com. Just go and select podcast. You see Dr. Davis's beautiful face. Click here, download, send this episode to 10 of your friends, especially if you have some friends here in Houston, friends who are in the DC area. So let them know that, yes, we have this wonderful opportunity coming. If you are looking for a dynamic speaker. I am that person to speak on stress management and burnout prevention. Send me an email at drbeckford@yourcaringdocs.com. I'd love to be able to help and support you at your next event. With that, we're going to end today's wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. Davis, for stopping by and for really pouring into us your passion for the work that you do and for all that you did during the pandemic to help all of our families. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. See you guys next time.